Tommy Truthful, Truth Mafia music. We be bringing the truth that the mainstream hides.
Welcome to another episode of Truth Mafia News. This is live on March 12th of 2025. Today's subject, we're going to be talking about signs and wonders, especially in the end times connected to prophecies. We have a lot of major astrological events coming up. The eclipse that starts at right before midnight, March 13th, and goes into March 14th, which is Pi Day, 3.14. Then we have connections to Pluto, Mercury retrograde. So it's going to be an amazing show. I got my father with me here. Before we get started, this show is brought to you from our sponsors at Nanosoma. This is just an amazing product that really helps to get your immune system back in line with itself. That link is down in the description, as well as our other members at Body Align, which my father is partial owner in this company, and the detox patch, the energy wellness band. I'm wearing mine now. My dad wears his. We have devices that go on your phone, and everything is frequencies and vibrations. Certain frequencies are healing frequencies. There's actually even certain frequencies that connect to your astrological sign. And we have healingfrequencymusic.com. You can check that out, where we have music that is lined up with each one of these frequencies. But with this product, that's what it's based on, this type of technology. And the detox patches are just amazing. It's energy wellness technology. And then, we got our sponsor over there at Goldco, and that link is also down below. Pops, what's up? How you doing today, brother?
I'm always doing wonderful, blessed, excited about what's going on. Went, my prayer and meditation this morning, very early. I get up around 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 at the latest. Do the prayers and meditation, the connection with the divine creator of all things, and then out doing the Tai Chi Gong on the terrace, looking at the ocean. And then after that, walking down through the beach into the ocean and putting my hands up in the sky in the ocean with the sun hitting me, and just going through, I am grateful, I am blessed, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I'm wise. I'm just going through all the affirmations, and that's how I start my day. And regardless of where you're at in your life at the moment, you need to start your day in a similar way. Whether you have an ocean or not, you need to start your day in a similar way. But I'm excited about, the download that the creator gave about the signs and wonders, and what we're going to be dropping on our brothers and sisters today, so they understand, what time it is. You know what I mean? This is the most exciting times that we've ever had in the history of this planet. And you're going to know after this show why. And again, Creator created the heavens for signs and wonders, and I'm excited about this show today, son.
Me too, Pops. I mean, what you asked me to look into it, so I started looking into it, and then it led me down a whole nother rabbit hole. Like, I didn't know the eclipse was getting ready to take place, and I found that out. And it's just, yeah, it's fascinating. And for anyone, there's a lot of people that think, oh, astrology is evil and this stuff is evil. Well, first of all, God made this, okay? And just like synchronicity, we have divine timing and synchronicity. And I believe that's when the creator is speaking to us. I don't think there's nothing evil about it. Why does he tell us to watch out for the signs in the heavens if it's evil? Which I'm going to show you all the different verses.
Put that back up. Put that back up for 1 second, son. I'll tell you what happened to me today.
Okay.
I've been getting hit by all those numbers up there. I get hit with those numbers a lot. But what
Do
sticks
you?
out, yeah, a lot. And what sticks out to me today is the 111 and the 1111. That hit me today in multiple ways, not only on the clock, but in multiple other ways. 222 also. Yeah, you see this. The divine creator is the master mathematician. Like no one even has the power of that. And all of this stuff is working in synergy. And
Yep.
the reason why the elites, the religious elites didn't want people to pay attention to this stuff and they demonized it was they didn't want people to step into their freaking power and become the people that the creator God made them to be, to fulfill their destiny while they're here again on this planet, unless it's their first time. Some people have been here many, many times before. But it's exciting. Why don't we do this, son? I want to talk about Pluto in Aquarius, and I want to go through the last couple thousand years of history about it, talk about what's going to be going on and all of that. And then you can comment on it. Then you go ahead and go down that other rabbit hole where
Yeah, let's do that.
we talked about, Revelation 12 and all that additional stuff that you found out that again opened everything up based on this show tonight.
Okay, yeah. You do your part first, Pops, what you found out on Pluto and all that. I'm really interested to hear about it.
Yeah, let me just pull up my document. It's not as fancy as my son's document. Sorry about that. But I know that you also did a blog post on it, son, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I
Okay, and
did.
we're gonna share that with everybody in a little bit. Okay, so let me go into my Grammarly. That's where I've got it. Oh, this is important, folks. Pay
And the
attention.
link to that blog post is in the description of the video, guys. So you'll be able to follow along with it and stuff.
Yeah, we'll put everything down there, right? Everything that we talk about will be down there. So Pluto in Aquarius, it bounced in and out in 2023, but it didn't come into full swing into Aquarius until 2024, January 20th, 2024, which is very interesting. That date is very interesting. And it's going to stay there until March 9th, 2043. So look at what this talks about. These changes. So Pluto takes 248 years to orbit the sun. It spends 12 to 30 years in each zodiac sign. When Pluto moves into Aquarius, history shows that significant changes happen. These changes often include revolutions, new technology, and power shifts. So when I did this research, I asked it to go back a couple thousand years and go back to every single time that Pluto was in Aquarius and give us the major things that happened. Okay. So it starts to talk about, what's going to be happening here in this time of 2024 to 2043, the age of AI and space travel. It titled it that technology, AI, space exploration, and major political shifts. Think about that, folks. What's happening now? It broke it down into what's happening now. Well, we know that artificial intelligence is changing jobs. We know that. You can read this, and we can make this document available to some.
Okay.
We'll make this document available. But everything it's talking about space exploration, we know that's going on. New types of money and finance, we know that's going on, right? More protests and political changes, that's happening. What's coming? AI will become even more powerful. We've been talking about that, right, son? We've been talking about how it's going to wipe out most of the jobs, and that's why over at Mastermind Webinars, linked in the description below, free account that you can get, we're teaching people how to position themselves in a positive way, feeding the light, and not just barely survive, but thrive through this transformation that's going to happen. And of course, always working on your vibration. So if the timeline split, you're moving into the 5D, 4D, 5D, say 5D, and there were other people are staying in 3D. But look at this. So humans may live on the moon and Mars. I'm not going to read the descriptions afterwards, okay? I'm just going to read the titles. A new energy revolution, nuclear fusion, we're right on the cusp of that happening. I think they're already got some forms of it, but we're talking about where it becomes unlimited energy, always cheap, abundant, and clean. Changes in world leadership, is that happening? I think so. Medical breakthroughs. So a lot of this stuff is going to skyrocket during this period of time. Like we've never seen anything like it. This period is more dramatic in the expansion of all things related to our existence in this world than ever before. And you'll see that as I go through these years. But very significant. Okay, very
Yeah,
significant.
very.
What do you think, son? I mean, we're on track for all of this stuff. Some of it's already happening and accelerating, and some of it will be coming. Most of all of this is coming to be
Yeah,
right
I
now.
like 100%. The space travel, you know me, Pops. I'm a little iffy on that part, but I think we live in a dimension. I don't know if they're traveling to
Well,
space,
it could,
but they could be.
portals, wormholes, all kinds of different things.
Yeah,
And be able
Stargate.
to travel wherever. We don't even know. There's so much misinformation out there. It's
And
incredible. But
100%.
we will find out. That's for sure. But look at this now. Key years to watch. So 2025 to 2026, economic instability and significant changes in the financial system. Let me tell you something right now. That's happening. And it's
That's
going to get really scary for a lot of people. Listen to me, brothers and sisters, right now, because this is important. Again, this is about you thriving and not merely surviving in these changes. But what's happening is the Trump administration, and again, I'm not into politics, I'm just saying what's going on right now. They want to renegotiate, the debt's coming up for renegotiation on the interest rate. So Trump wants to do what? He wants to hit the stock market. He wants to take down, put us in a little bit of a recession, get the interest rates down to renegotiate the debt and the bonds and all that stuff at a lower rate. Because we're paying right now in interest over $1 trillion a year, more than they pay on the bloated defense budget, which is bloated, beyond bloatation. Okay. I don't know if I just made that word up, so I might make that word up, bloatation. But it is disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting, and it's a shame, and it's a sin to the it's a energy to the darkness like no other energy, war and death. But look at this here. So we know we're going through that. You got to position yourself properly for that. I give 2 webinars open to the public every single month in mastermind webinars. Links in the description below, mastermindwebinars.com/Truth Mafia. Don't let me forget to have that slide, son. We need that. It's important because knowledge is critical. And if you don't have it and you don't position yourself properly for what's going to happen, you're going to wish you were listening to what we're talking about and doing. Okay.
Knowledge is power, brother. Knowledge is power.
So now look at this, 2028, 2030, AI could advance in medicine, robotics, and space. That's happening. 2033 to 2036, the world could become fully digital with new ways of government. That's happening. And that is a real scary proposition, isn't it? Because we know that in different scriptures and different religions all over the world, that it talks about this really time of control like you've never seen before. And when you put AI into the equation and you go fully digital, woo,
Yeah.
woo. The wrong
That's
hands. You think we got slavery now? I'll be vibrating into the 5th dimension with hopefully most of you brothers and sisters, and the people that are left in the 3rd are going to deal with this stuff. But yeah, it seems like we're headed there full steam ahead. I mean, there is no if and buts about it. It's not something you should be fearing over or be afraid of. If you've got a real relationship with the divine creator, you're putting time and energy into that. You're working on your energy, your spirituality, your connection, you know, your balance, life balance, all those things. You're not going to have to worry about it. But there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go through that hell like no one's ever seen before. 2040 and 2043, major shifts in power and technology before Pluto moves into Pisces. So that's
That
kind of,
could I
yeah,
mention
go ahead,
that
Doug.
2040 year, Dad? That's the year a lot of people talk about, like archaics. He talks about the Phoenix
The end,
phenomenon taking
the end.
that year, and major, pole shifts and stuff like that. Jay Dreams talks about the plasma apocalypse. He thinks it's going to happen a little earlier than that, like more into the probably 2033 to 2036 timeline. We're actually stepping into it. And yeah, man, I mean, a lot of this has already taken place.
And
And
a
I think
lot of
that's
it
why.
is taking place. More is going to accelerate. We are opening up our spiritual community. You will be able, I think by next week, I'll have stuff in there. It's a free community. We also will be training teachers, which are going to be more of a paid community, because we're going to have spiritual coaches all around this freaking planet with solutions to help repair it. I mean, to help bring it back, to do what we can. And maybe we're creating the 5D, maybe we're creating the path to the 5D by what we're doing, but this is happening and this is accelerating and it's going to go super fast. And if you think that, okay, well, Jimmy, Papa Truthful, Tommy Truthful, well, what's happened in the other times that Pluto has been in Aquarius? Well, let's just take a look. Let's just take a
Yeah,
look
let's
for
take a look.
let's take a look. Well, from 1778 to 1798, revolutions in the industrial age. American and French revolutions and the industrial revolution began. Abolishment movement grew. Abolishment against slavery. Okay? So think about those things that happened during that period of time. That's massive transformation.
American
Right?
and French Revolution, that's when all the beheadings and the monarchs fell, remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
And then
serious.
and then you go back to it again, and you got religious and global power shifts. And then you got that's from 1532 to 1553, and the Protestant Reformation grew. Henry the Eighth, what is that?
Yeah.
Henry the Fifth or Eighth?
Henry
Henry
the
the
Eighth.
Eighth
Yeah.
broke from
He's
the
the one that
Catholic
John
Church and
Paul, his
started the
wife,
Church
said,
of England. So they started the Church of England back then, and then European exploration expanded to Spanish. Unfortunately, it took control of the American colonies. Science challenged religious ideas. I mean, look, everything you go back into, 1286 to 808. I don't want to take too long. I just want to cover the highlights because I want you to get into your stuff, son. But this is why we
well,
talk about signs and wonders, because look at what happened then.
well, Henry the Eighth, too, Pops, that was a huge time for us because, yes, he broke away from the Catholic Church, and he was the one, he had like 7 different wives and beheaded like 5 of them. And then he set up the Church of England. So that was a huge time. That's also, I believe, in that time frame
Can you
is when
see
the
this
Jesuit
okay?
order
Can,
was
can you see
built.
this okay, son? From here, is it
Oh, yeah,
okay?
I see it perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, all of those other things that you dig deeper into these things, as I'm just highlighting those periods of time, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of juicy stuff within that with,
Oh, yeah.
with everything that you do. I mean, I guarantee it. And then early banking, and this whole period of time here with
Oh,
Knights
138.
Templar banking system grows, Silk Road trade increases. The Mongol Empire reaches its peak. I probably pronounced that improperly. But I mean, and then you go into 1041, 1063. Feudalism and conquest. Look at this, the Norman conquest.
Oh, that
The
was a good one.
Seljuk Turks expanded their empire. The Byzantine Empire weakens. I mean, so every single time. And again, What we're going to go through this time around makes these last periods look like a freaking Sunday picnic, even though they
Yeah, I
weren't Sunday picnics. Because look at this stuff: Charlemagne, Islamic Golden Age, Viking
I
raids
believe one of my
began.
reincarnations was around that time, Pops, 847. I have very vivid dreams about it. One of my past lives, and it was in the Meads, Irish area around there. But 847, I see that number all the time too. So I didn't know that that was close to that time frame. That was King Charlemagne who killed a lot of people and forced
There
them
you
into
go. And
Christianity.
look,
Yeah.
right? And there you go. Again, same Pluto in Aquarius. And then we go down here. I mean, look how this goes, man. I mean, son, I'd love you to do a deep dive into all of these. I mean, you don't have the kind of time, but I mean, it's like if you look at every single time, it's unbelievable. Buddhism spreads in Asia. The plague of Justin, Emperor Justin strengthens this empire. I mean, this
Oh,
one here, Christianity becomes a major religion. Constantine converted to Christianity. I mean, the
damn.
Council of Nicaea.
That's where they lied to us and rewrote the
Religious
Bible.
freedom is granted in Roman Empire. Religious freedom. So you go back here to 64 BCE and 43 BC, end of the Roman Republic, right? Julius Caesar
Yeah.
rises to power and is assassinated. The Roman Empire began when Augustine became the first emperor. Cleopatra rules Egypt. What happens every time Pluto is in Aquarius? Revolutions and power shifts. Governments change and new leadership rises. Every time since we went through this for 2,000 years. Scientific and technological breakthroughs, major inventions and discoveries reshape the world. Religion and ideological challenge changes. Old beliefs fade and new ways of thinking emerge. Financial transformations, banking, trade, and economy shifts. Decentralization of power. Governments lose control and people gain more freedom. Praise God right there. Final thoughts. Are you ready for change? Pluto in Aquarius always brings significant change. Over the next 2 decades, we will see AI takes over for industries, human explore and settle in space, financial system change, dramatically new medical discoveries extend human life. And the bottom line, will you embrace the future or resist it? And that's where we're headed. I mean, that's where we're headed. And people need to understand now that you're going to dig into the other stuff that you don't want you want to make sure that you pay attention to the signs and wonders and where we're positioned, like
Yeah.
Pluto being in Aquarius.
Could you go back up real quick, Pops, to that one part you showed um, before I
Hold
get
on.
into it with the number
Yep.
313?
Yep.
Because that's a big part of what I was looking at today. That's when this eclipse starts on 313. It's like almost at midnight. Yeah, right
Well,
there. So,
Christianity became a major religion.
oh wow. So listen to this, Dad. The Pope, the first Jesuit Pope, he became the Pope on 313. And then Trump handed power to FEMA in 2020 on March 13th, 313. And that's the day Obama got sick with you know what, guys. He was crowned by the serpent that day. So there's a huge connection to that 313 number. And that's when religious freedom is granted in the Roman Empire. So that's when, after Constantine said he's seen the cross in the sky, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, and
And
you know what? Before you, when you get into and I was having a conversation with somebody who's very, very, connected to the Creator and has a lot of magnificent gifts that have been given. But I had during this period of time that you're going to talk about as you dig in, I had those four dreams about the three-dimensional Earth and what would happen on this planet. And the last one I had, remember I told you it was Trump and me in the office, the Oval Office, and all hell was breaking loose, and the ceiling was like translucent. It was that translucent. But the first one was a huge tsunami on the East Coast. I mean, higher, like filling up skyscrapers. And then another one on the West Coast. Oh, is my audio okay, son? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly fine.
Okay, and then the tsunami on the West Coast, and then the planet or whatever with the red and the black lines and everything melting, and then the Trump thing. This all happened during that period of time that for me that happened when you were talking about what are you going to be talking about with Revelation 12?
Well, yeah, that biblical prophecy, was fulfilled in 2017, and it's really where my blog started, which I'll get into here in a minute. I just want to show you guys um, this sign that was fulfilled, and here's a little diaphragm of it. So they tell us not to pay attention to this, but it's very important that we do. And the number 12 is going to come up in my decode today as well. And you have the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 disciples of Jesus. That's another thing, guys. They tell us 13 so bad, right? Well, Jesus Christ represents the number 13. There was the 12 disciples. Jesus is the 13th. The 12 constellations, the 12 gates of Jerusalem, the 12 stones of the breastplates. So when the high priestess went into the temples, they had these breastplates that had these 12 stones on them. And they were like creation stones or whatever. But I think, Dad, that them stones were to block the radiation. It was some type of radiation being put off by the Ark of the Covenant, and that's how they were talking to God. And that's what, just like this microwave radiation, when with the energy wellness band, we have the certain stones that are grounded up in that medical grade silicone that are within that band. So you see, even back then, they knew about that technology. 12 that's 12 years old, Jesus's first words. That's what they say anyways. Um, and 12 is just a big number. So now let me get into this blog. Let me share my screen with you. Hold on one second, guys. Share screen. There we go. Entire screen. Boom. All right. So let me view a post. Sorry, guys. I was still working on it in the background here. Let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. There we go. So that's the Revelations 12 sign that I just showed you. Revelations 12:1, 121. That prophecy is fulfilled. A great sign appeared in the heavens. A woman clothed with the sun and moon at her feet, on her head a crown of 12 stars. And I think of corona, which equals crown, the corona of the sun. Corona means crown in Latin, Spanish, whatever. The prophecy was fulfilled on September 23rd. Now, for all my decoders out there, September 23rd, 923. That's a huge number. That's a big date we've been watching for major events for a long time. And then we had this prophecy fulfilled. And that 923 number ties into Osiris. Well, the Antichrist is the resurrection of Osiris. Now, when the constellation Virgo, the woman, was aligned with the sun and the moon and the 12 stars of Leo and the three planetary bodies forming her crown, many biblical scholars and truth seekers believe this was a major prophetic event that took place there. Now, that 121, Revelations 12:1, right? 121. Well, that we know that's a number tied. This is in the English ordinal, Gematria, which it's God's way of communicating with us through synchronicity. Not to mention, he spoke you into existence with the spoken word. Every letter has a number to it. Every number holds an energy, a vibration, a frequency. So there's different ciphers. If you go right here, Gematria calculator, we have the biggest database in the world. You can see all the different ciphers and decode and stuff like that. That's why when I do my decodes, it's so important. And if you want to get one of them, that link is down in the description. That way, you know what your source code is and you know what synchronicity to look out for. But we also know that's tied to the whole CERN rituals, which was a major thing during the last eclipse. Remember, guys? CERN went online. We've seen all them crazy videos happening in the sky. People don't even believe it was a real eclipse. They think it was something else going on. So we'll see with this one if we see anything strange. And I tell you this all the time, CERN was built on the ancient temple of Apollo, which ties directly with Revelations 9:11. They had a king over them, the angel of the abyss, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue, his name is Apollyon, the destroyer. And my theory with all that is I believe they're trying to open up this stargate, this gate to hell. That's my opinion. Now, here are all the Bible signs that tell us to look to the heavens for signs, heavenly signs in the end times. You got Revelations 12:3. Then another sign appeared in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns on his head. And that sign came right after this one, right? The red dragon sign. So that comes right after this one being fulfilled. So we still need to see that one, that prophecy fulfilled. Maybe we'll see that. Some people connect that dragon to Nibiru, and it could be the destroyer of worlds. In front of CERN is a statue of Shiva, which they also call the destroyer of worlds. I got a theory that Nibiru is not even a planet like they tell us on an elliptical orbit with our sun. I think it's a dimension, and it's a dimension of the fallen angels that they're trying to open. But again, that's just my theory, my opinion on it. Joel 2-30, I will display wonders in the sky and on earth, blood, fire, and columns of smoke. Well, we're seeing that happen right now. Look at all the fires, LA, Lahaina, all these different fires that Spain, Portugal, I mean, half the world's on fire, for the last couple of years. It's crazy. Most of the Amazon's burning up. They're not even talking about that, which is literally like the lungs of the planet. It's what the trees put out oxygen, they absorb the carbon monoxide. So all this stuff with global warming, if they quit cutting down the trees, first of all, I think the global warming thing is total BS. But if they would quit cutting down these trees, we wouldn't have that problem. Not to mention, it would give out what my dad always talks about. What's that, Dad? The negative ions?
Well, yeah, the negative ions are critical, and we used to have like way more, but we cut down more than half the trees on this planet, and they're the biggest producers, one of the biggest producers of negative ions, which literally helps you with mental health, anti-aging, anxiety, depression. I mean, I've got a list of that. When you're ready, I can read it off to people, but it's significant. Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
you got to get one of those little negative ion plugins for your home. I think you said some that whatever, wherever you can get them, get them.
We'll have them
ion.
on our shop. Yeah. I already found a distributor, and we can get them cheaper than Amazon and better quality. So we just put up a shop, guys, and I'm finished. You can go on it now. There's a few items up there, but in the background, I'm building several other pages and adding a bunch of other products. So all I got to do is hit save and edit, and then all that'll be available as well. So that'll be cool. And the ones that we got, you can get them on Amazon. Like my dad said, we really don't care where you get the stuff. We just look for the stuff that we know works, that we've tested, so we can give you our best opinion and try to get you a better deal on it. But yeah, you can plug it right into your socket at home, and it releases them negative ions, which are very important. And then we have Revelation, or Matthew 24-30. And the signs of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, And then all the tribes of earth will mourn, and they will see that the Son of Man is coming on the clouds of the sky with power and great glory. And then Revelations 15 through 1. Guys, 151. Remember this one? Beyonce on the cover of I forget what magazine was it. Was it Vogue when she was on that red horse? That was tied to the 151 cipher. We had the Kentucky Derby where you had number 15 and 1. That was a couple years back. So this 151 cipher has been very significant. And it says, then I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels who had 7 plagues, which are the last, because in them the wrath of God is finished. So we've already seen a few plagues coming true, and who knows how many more we'll see. I can't talk about that too much because we're on YouTube, but Acts 2 through 19, and I will grant wonders in the sky above and signs on the earth below, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. That sounds very similar to the one up here, right? Joel 2. So he's really telling us to watch out for these fires. That not just signs in the heavens, that there will be things taking place on the earth that we should also pay attention to. And Luke 21 through 11, there will be a great earthquake in various places, plagues and famine, and there will be terror and great signs from the heaven. So I just listed all the ones that have these signs in the Bible. As you can see, it's many. Jeremiah 10 through 2, which is 102, the reflection of 201, like Event 201, the little pandemic simulation they held by the Gates Foundation. Thus says the Lord, do not learn the way of the nation, and do not be terrified by the signs of heaven, although the nations are terrified by them. So that one's very deep to me, Dad, because it's telling us to not fear it, right? Don't.
Look, I mean, again, 1,000 fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it won't touch you. Only with your eyes you see the reward of the wicked. So I believe, look, all scripture, when you study the different religions like Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, a lot of it, there's a lot of similarity there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's some differentiation, but there's a lot of similarity there. But the major problem is all the information, when you go back through the history, when they, like the Gnostics and the Essenes and other groups that had documentation of their, situation, and it was destroyed. The Library of Alexandria library was destroyed, burned down.
Yep.
And then the Vatican took a lot of stuff into their underground vaults. And so, they don't want anybody to know the truth, because if you give this information and you step into your power, and that is stepping into the creator's power by stepping into your power, because you're a divine, you're created in the image of the creator, you're divine, you got to step into it, you got to do what you're here to do. They don't want you to do that. They can't control you. They can't feed your systems. They can't have their 15-minute cities and their AI control grids. And everybody walks around with the mark of the beast, the chip, and you buy and sell based on your behavior. And if you're not doing exactly what they want to say, well, then they pull on up with their little robotic army and they pull you into a truck and you're basically turned into fertilizer. And that's the end of that story. And that's where, unfortunately, the 3D reality here on planet Earth is headed. It's headed for a lot of darkness. And I know one thing, myself personally, I'm working overtime on my relationship with God. That's what I call the creator, but you can't even call it, it's beyond that. You know what I mean? It's not, there's really no words to describe it. The Gnostics called it the good, the invisible Father, right?
Yeah.
I like to say the point of origin. I mean, like, what was always there, what knows the past, the future, and the present all at the same time. what birthed creation. Even though creation created, you know, it birthed it. It was there all the time. That's what I call God. That's what I call the Heavenly Father. And a lot of the stuff that they put in, government, religion, all of these control factors to control the masses. They don't want us to have the information. I can't tell you how many times I heard that meditation and yoga and chakras, which are just energy, your body's energy portals, and there's more than 8. There's like 30 some of them. There's a lot of them, and they don't want you to know any of this information because they don't want you to feel great, and they don't want you to manifest. They don't want you to bring goodness to this world. They don't want any of that. That's why they cut out. You know what I was saying today or the other day, son? I think on Dave Hodgen's show, I was saying, he's asked me, do you think this is intentional? What they're doing, with this negative ions and all of the stuff in the atmosphere. Well, I said, of course it is.
Of course it is.
These people are stupid. They knew the consequences of cutting all these trees down. They knew the consequences of lowering negative ions into the environment. They knew the consequences to the planet. They know the consequences to the planet. They know the consequences to the humanity. And they don't care because that's part of their plan. So,
Yep.
What we need to do is we can't be waiting for Bobby Kennedy to remove poisons from our food. We got to find better food. We got to grow better food. We can't be waiting for President Trump and all these people to change our reality. We got to change. We got to
100%.
change. We got to take personal responsibility and change it for ourselves. First and foremost for ourselves. Because when you make the change, that your vibration, your frequency flows to your family. Your divine protection and blessing flows to your family. And then you start seeing them change. Some of them, maybe not all of them.
Yeah, some of them are just stuck on that. I call them NPCs. They're stuck on that lower vibration. Even if they're my family, I still love them, but I distance myself from them type of people because they're just going to bring your vibration down too and your energy. And Dad, like you said, listen, that's what they want to do, bro. They can control. It's not easy to control healthy, high vibrational people. It's easy to control sick, lower vibrational people. You know what I'm saying?
That's why, Bobby Kennedy said something about 1,000 poisonous ingredients in our food. The other day, I heard that there's only 400 ingredients in the European, like UK food. Food. We have over 10,000 ingredients.
Wow.
In our food in America.
That's nuts.
I mean, you tell me that what they're trying to do, they want to, and there's so many minerals missing and amino acids missing and all of that stuff missing from the food supply, where most people are walking around, they're lucky. I'm not talking about their capabilities with 10% of their brain or 12 or 5 or whatever. I'm talking about with what they've been dealt with, being at their performance, they're at like 50%.
Oh, 100%. If that.
Some lower, right? Some lower. And it's all based on design. It's all based on design. And that's what they want. That's what they want to do to us. And again, learning about the stuff that we're showing you tonight and also working on yourself and really working on yourself like you've never done before is critical. I mean, critical. Unless you want to be left here in the 3D and go through all these things that, Dreamer's talking about and 8 checks or whatever his name's talking about.
Dreamers.
Go through the dreams that I had, you know what I mean? That other people have talked about. That's going to be a reality in a timeline. And, son, the people that I'm dealing with the spiritual, the spiritual community, which we'll talk about the domain next week, and people will be able to join for free. The prayer circles in there.
About that. It looks amazing too.
Yeah, and there's some gifted people in quantum healing and some really gifted people that the divine creator has given them these, the abilities come from the creator, not from ourselves. They come from the
Oh,
creator. Everything's in the creator, and the creator's in everything pretty much. So it comes from that. And there's a lot of stuff, that's going to be happening for people in that community. And then being able to find out the people that have stepped into their power through connecting to the divine creator, the Father, and really understanding, not that we all know 100% of the truth, we don't, but at
no.
least we're getting better discernment based on that relationship and driving, leadership around this planet to help as many people follow the path of the light and into the light and not into the darkness. I mean,
Yep. I agree
now
with you
isn't
so.
there an eclipse tonight? Is there an eclipse tonight on the 13th, March 13th? Something going
No,
on?
March. Well, today's the 12th. So tomorrow, I have that part down here. I'll get into
Okay.
that in a minute, the whole timeline of it. But before I talk about that, well, Dad, you pretty much broke down Pluto's return. The one thing I do want to touch on about it real quick, 1776, guys, that was the birth of America. That was the last time, right? Pluto's return, 1776, in the exact 23 degrees that it is in the same position now, which that was the birth of America and the birth of the Illuminati. And then Mercury retrograde. Mercury is known as the god of transportation. So JFK was killed in a Mercury ritual. He's driving in a car. And then Lyndon Johnson was sworn in the presidency at 2:38 p.m. in an airplane on president, which is transportation. 238 for they say from the Earth to the Moon is 238,000 miles, which sounds crazy to me. The moon and the Earth look the same size. I mean, the moon and the sun look the same damn size to me, but they tell me that's perspective. I don't believe nothing they tell me. But we're coming into digital censorship, market ships crashes, and Mercury's orbit is 88 days around the sun. Now, what I want to show you guys before I break this down, on my Facebook, I did this walk, Pops, and it got like, I think, almost 80,000 views already. Oops, it's the wrong Facebook. Hold on, guys. Let me log into my other one real quick. My big one right here. So during this walk, I warned everybody. I said, guys, we are going, and it was real early in the morning. You'll see the time, it's all time stamped. I said, we're going to have a major event on the world stage. And I broke down why I believe that would happen. And the reason I said that is because of the numbers and what happened. It was tied to 88. Remember, guys? And then the rocket blew up. SpaceX rocket Starship explodes in a shower of wreckage, causing flight carnage and planes grounded. Well, the date added up to 88, which SpaceX Starship blows up as 88. Architects of Society is 88. Everything was staged as 88. Mercury rotates the sun every 88 days. And even if you don't believe in planets and you think we live on a flat plane, you can look at it as a sigil that the elites are putting energy into. So it doesn't matter if you believe in astrology or numerology, because they do. This is one I put, Dad, how you said we can't wait for Trump. We can't wait for, and I'm a pro-life conservative. I pray for the president. I hope he does do good things. Bob Kennedy, I hope he does good things. But like my father said, we can't sit around waiting for them. So I put this up: trust the plan. The arrests are coming. Anything now. Watch your phone. The alerts, the message, and you got this guy just shriveled up, dying.
By the
Waiting
way,
for.
you're getting 20 million into your bank account too, so no worries about making any kind of money for you
Yeah.
and your family. Just sit by the couch and it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. You're getting 20 million. All this money's coming. Yeah. There's so much BS. But this was the live I did. And during that, you see, I broke it all right down here. I told you exactly why it would happen. What number did I say there, guys? 88. because of the date's numerology. It was 3-6, which if you break it down shorthand, 3 plus 6 plus 25 equals 34. You break it down, 3 plus 6 plus 20 plus 25 equals 54. Well, you add them two numbers together, what do you got? 88. And we know 88 is a huge number. Trump equals 88. When was Trump rated, guys? On 8/8, August 8th, during the Lionsgate portal. The same day, the Lahaina massacre happened, and all them people were burned up in the 808 area code. So that 88 is a very powerful number. It's tied to Mercury retrograde. It's also tied to white supremacy, but I ain't going to get into that. 14 and 88, both them numbers are heavily connected to the Aryan Brotherhood in the prison system. So I said today's date numerology also has the 369 connection, which my girl Rachel Christina pointed that out to me after the video. So I added that after she said it in the comments. But, you know, when you listen to this video, which look, it's at 80,000 views. Now, it was freezing out that day. It's getting warmer, guys. So I'm going to start doing more of these type of videos because people love them. But, you know, it's been cold. That's why I haven't been able to do it. There's my girl, Rachel, right there. Follow her, too. She's amazing. Been following me since the beginning. And you see she's all about the numbers, too. The 1111. And I got the link to this product here, which is my favorite product that saved my life. It helps to get your immune system back in alignment so you can start vibrating on the proper frequency. Now listen, it's not that it heals anything or nothing. It gets your body taking care of itself properly. So I want to be very clear.
Well, it definitely saved your leg. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Well, they took mine and Richard's video down. Can you believe that? And strike our video.
They don't want people to know that. They don't want people to know that information. And
They
why would they take it down? You know, unless they don't want people to know.
Yep. I mean, it blew my mind that they took it down. We wasn't even talking about nothing bad. I mean, we got into conspiracies a little at the end, but nothing major. We were talking about the banking system and stuff like that. And they didn't strike me for that. They showed me the exact timestamp and hit me for medical, you know what? And we were talking about the product. It blew my mind. I'm like, oh yeah, you guys really don't want to help people. So that's what it is. But I just want to show you that, guys. You see the timestamp right there when it was published, March 6th, actually 1:37 p.m. That's a very powerful number too. That number's tied to the chosen people. And why did the elite steal it? The 47 plus 90 degree Freemasonic compass is 137. The 137th prime number is 33. All of our sacred numbers, they steal. Just like 88 was a sacred number. Then they attach it to white supremacy and a bunch of ignorant stuff and use it for negative rituals. I mean, it's crazy how they do that. But I actually didn't mean to post it at that time. That's just, that was organic synchronicity right there. And then you see right here the next day at 1:33, which is tied to simulated reality. So this is just all sort of organic synchronicity. I don't pay attention to the time when I'm posting. I got so many things going on, but I broke it down for you. I put a link to that video showing you. So, I mean, many of times I predict these things happening. AI prison matrix system is 88. And like my dad said, the people that stay stuck vibrated on that certain frequency, they're going to be part of this, you know, the quantum financial system, the global currency reset, the AI prison matrix, destroyer of worlds is 88, which gets into Cerny and Shiva. But the lunar eclipse, this is what they're saying is happening, where the Earth blocks the sun's rays from partially fully reaching the moon. So we're having a partial lunar eclipse, and certain parts of the United States will be able to see it. Other parts, they say we won't. So that starts, like I said, it starts actually in Charlottesville. The eclipse starts in the penumbral, I butchered that, penumbral phase just before midnight, technically 11:57 p.m. on March 13th, when the edge of the full moon first touches the light part of the Earth's shadow, making the moon slightly dimmer. And that was said by Matt, who is an assistant professor in the University of Virginia's astronomy department. That's so he said it was actually it's actually starts on the 13th, not the 14th, like all these alleged truth seekers are telling us out here. So that's interesting too. The penumbral phase is the first stage of a lunar eclipse. So it literally starts 2 minutes before the 14th, which is interesting. That's the beginning of it. That's when the moon enters the Earth's outer shadow, causing that dimming effect rather than the full eclipse. This phase is not as dramatic as a total eclipse, but marks the beginning of the moon's passage through the Earth's shadow. And then here's the timeline of the eclipse. 1:10 a.m., March 14th. The moon moves into the umbra, the darkest part of the Earth's shadow. At this point, it's the brightest we'll notice. So 110, that number, 9/11 had 110 stories tall. And I got a slide I'll show you when I come back. Just remind me, guys, on that 110 number that my boy posted on. It had to do with that ship blowing up yesterday. I'll get into that in a minute. But 2:26 to 3:30 a.m., the moon is fully inside Earth's shadow, turning a reddish hue due to the light reflecting through the Earth's atmosphere. So that's where we get that whole red moon look. And then at 3:33, the eclipse begins to reverse as the moon starts to brighten. 4:50 a.m., the partial eclipse ends. And then 6 a.m., the penumbral phase ends as the moon fully exits the shadow. So that's the end of it. And the hidden symbolism tied within all this is connected to pi. And that 313 number my dad mentioned with Mercury retrograde. So the timing of the eclipse, it starts 2 minutes before the 14th, so technically March 13th, which is a highly significant number. Remember, Pope Francis, they keep talking about him. They're talking about his health and all this craziness. He's been in the news for like the last 2 weeks now. He was the first Jesuit pope ever, and he became the first pope on March 13th of 2013. And then in 2020, on March 13th, Donald Trump handed power to FEMA, which, as far as I know, they still hold that authority because it was never given back. And on that same day, Barack Obama was crowned by the serpent. He was, he got that situation. I'm not going to mention that. March 14th is known as Pi Day. Pi is a number of perfection. It's also a number tied to first player character. FPC code is in that 314. So it's a number tied to the first player characters. And it's tied to Trump's birthday. There's a giant connection with pi and Trump's birthday. But it's an infinite number, which holds mystical significance among the elite, another thing they stole from us. The Jesuit order, whose symbol is a giant sun, is also tied to pi. And from March 13, 2013, the popes, that's when he became the pope. It's been exactly 12 years since that happened, which again, the number 12, the 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 signs of Israel, the 12 disciples of Jesus. And guess how many 12 years is, guys? It's 144 months. 12 years. It's been exactly 144 months tomorrow since the Pope became the Pope. And he's what? The first Jesuit Pope. And we have the 144,000 elect in the end times. I believe these are people that, like Dad's talking about, people that are going to step into their power and actually have certain abilities to help the Creator in this end times. Jesuit orders tied to that number because they like to attach that negative energy to anything sacred. And here's their symbol, as you see, tied to the sun. They was founded during one of 1540, Dad, which was right in that time frame during Mercury retrograde, the formation. And they were formed, the Jesuit order was founded September 27th of 1540 as a counterforce to the 95 Thesis of Martin Luther. So they didn't want us being able to read the Bible, it being translated from Latin so we could understand it. They didn't want the Church of England coming into power. This was all stuff they did not want. And I always say this, I think they might have set America up for real and let all the people that wanted to be, what do they call them, Protestants or Christian, that didn't want to go through Catholicism. And they all came over here and found America. And then their plan, because the Roman Empire never went anywhere, they rebranded. And now it's the Holy Roman Empire that runs the world, right? They got the military industrial complex, Washington, D.C., its own nation. Their financial district, London, which is its own nation. And their seat of power, which is the Vatican, its own nation. They're all their own nations. And what if they let us all come over here and then their plan was to one day nuke this shit, which it seems like we're coming into. That's just a theory of mine. If you count from March 13th of 2025, the Pope's anniversary until this year, September 27th, the Jesuit anniversary, it's exactly 6 months and 14 days. Well, whose birthday is that? It's June 14th. That's Trump's birthday. That directly ties to Donald Trump, who was born with a blood moon over Jerusalem. And now there's all this stuff where that gold statue went viral. And, that was AI generated. That's not really over there in Jerusalem, but it was huge. They control what goes viral. And that's tied to Nebuchadnezzar and the different ages and Daniel, Nebuchadnezzar's dream. And Daniel broke it down. So his day, his birthday, Trump's birthday, is tied to pi. We find the number 614. It appears in the 97th decimal place of pi. So these are the two numbers you should be watching out for in the next, from this time period, guys. When this eclipse begins until September 27th, I think we're going to see a very, very significant event. And it'll be tied to the number 97 or 614. I'm saying that right now. And what all events have happened during blood moons and these partial lunar eclipses throughout history. The Battle of Hastings, a blood moon appeared before William the Conqueror defeated King Harold. I think Dad had that in Mercury retrograde too. So that had the blood moon and Mercury retrograde just like this one. Columbus's fourth voyage, that's where Columbus used the blood moon prediction to manipulate indigenous people into giving him supplies. Remember that? Yeah, he actually did that. And World War I, 1917, the biggest genocide of Christians ever. No one talks about this. Yeah, World War I happened, but shout out to all my Armenians out there, because that was the Armenian genocide by Turkey, right? Turkish forces murdered millions of Armenians, and they just want to pretend like that never happened. Well, it did. The 6-Day War, 1967, a blood moon was visible during this war between Israel and the neighboring Arab states, and then the September 9/11 attacks. So that's what I said you should watch out for, the numbers and these alignments. And the one thing I want to show you before I want to hear my dad's, oops, what the hell just happened there? Sorry, guys. Stop screen share. Where's that slide I had? Two of them. This one, here's the ship that crashed. This was yesterday, guys. The captain of crashed cargo ship in Russia. You guys seen this? So they said it had all this fuel on it, And I don't know why the dude got arrested, but of course they try to blame it on Russia. And 193 is the 44th prime number. And you can see it's connected to what? 44 and 193. Britain is world's biggest warmonger, says Russia, 193, which was in the mainstream news. Captain of crash cargo ship is Russian national, 193. And then you got matching that ship's name, the MV Salong, the master of the MV Salong, and Zelensky, which is Ukraine, their little buddy, America's buddy. Look, they got perfectly overlapping Gematria in all four ciphers. And that was by my boy on Twitter. I put his handle right up here. And what did he say? Much, much more to this. I see America ship was carrying 220,000 barrels of jet fuel. So you got that 220. The Twin Towers, 110 stories high. We just mentioned that number, which 110 plus 110 is 220. And then this was 117 days after Charles III's birthday and 117 days before U.S. independence, July 4th, which nuclear wars 117, evil people, crash market. So, that's our newest event we had there, guys. And the one I was talking about with Trump, Nebuchadnezzar and Donald Trump have perfectly overlapping gematria in four ciphers. And there's a reason they let that statue go viral. That statue is not really over in Jerusalem like a lot of people thought. It's an AI generated statue, and you got to kind of be a moron to look at it and not be able to tell that was generated with AI. But when I first seen it, I fell for it too, so I must be a moron as well, guys. I kind of thought it was real at first, but I only seen the statue. I didn't see all the little kids down at the bottom. If I'd have seen that part, I would have known, because you can tell that's AI. But they're tied in that 888 cipher, which is the number of the Antichrist and Project Bluebeam, their fake alien invasion. So them are the two things I wanted to point out. And I see somebody put X-Men right there. Rhonda, I made this new slide, Rhonda, for the email decodes, because I believe during this astrological events that are taking place, the whatever Nibiru is, or the black sun, the gamma radiation being released from it, is going to activate certain people's 12-strand angelic DNA, and they are going to get certain abilities. And this is part of the decode we do. That link is down below in the description, where we break down your source code so you know what synchronicities to look out for. There's certain frequencies that are tied to your astrological sign, but we all see these numbers that my dad mentioned in the beginning. And we all have a source code. My dad, his is 64, which is a very divine number, and first player character is 64. It's a number of royalty. He has 64 in a lot of ciphers. Remember, we talked about that before, Pops, with your code?
Yeah, whatever God has me doing, I'm good. But it's the numbers. The numbers are what the numbers are, and God is the master mathematician, and He's talking in numbers, and just like these signs that you see with 555, 111, 111, 222, 33. I mean, He's speaking to you, and pay attention. Like it's interesting. My wife had a dream last night about all her teeth fell out into her hand. Now
Ooh.
she's very, that means death, right? Well, then Julio, her father's cousin, died last night. So they bury people within, very quickly down in that level. So pay attention to what your dreams are. Pay attention to the numbers that you see. Pay attention to the signs and wonders that are happening. This is going to get extreme. I mean, this is what? Dark versus light.
Yep.
Okay?
100%.
It is that. It is exactly that. And you need to really work as hard as you can. Look, at the end of the day, when we move into the five dimension, you don't need money. You don't need anything. You can manifest everything with instant thought. Everything manifests. But you got to be at a point where you have unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, and that you really are truly working on building a relationship, meaning consulting with, asking for forgiveness, giving thanks, being grateful, all of those things for anything in your life that you have going on, whether small or big, being a great steward of it and really, really working hard on that, right? Not getting caught up in all of this other noise. You know what I mean? The
Yep.
noise, the noise, the noise, the noise of government, the noise of all of this stuff going on. Look, there's a lot of wonderful people that are in Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism. I mean, you can name any Buddhism, you can name any religion, and there are magnificently wonderful human beings in there. And there's also magnificently evil people, well, let's say terrible people in there too, right? Just like there's good and bad in everything. So don't condemn anything. Just let it go and be in the now, right this minute. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about yesterday. I see so many people destroying their lives because they can't get out of yesterday. They can't get out of their past. Forgive whatever happened in your past. Forgive yourself for it and move on. Live now, today, because this is the most important time right now, right here. And tomorrow's not guaranteed for now, any one of us here.
Nope. Yeah, I agree with you, Pops. And shout out to Jay. I hit him up last night, Dad. He has a pretty big following. He's the one that talks about the plasma apocalypse. And damn, that alarm out in my drive. I don't know who's turned that on. But I was gonna have him on the show with us today, but I hit him up kind of last minute. So I'll see if he can come on next week with us and talk about some things. So shout out to Jay, guys. Go check out his channel. He gets into the plasma apocalypse. I just finished his book. He wrote his second book. He has two amazing books, and you can find all that over on his YouTube channel. He's a really good person too. Me and him do movie breakdowns together. Just a good dude. I don't think you ever met Jay, Pop, so it'd be cool to have you guys on a show together. But he's on that same thing like you, bro. High vibration. I mean, he has his group is called the High Vibe Tribe in his
Yeah.
YouTube. So, he's all about that higher energy, and we get caught up in the lower frequencies here and there. All of us do. But I think the way me and you set things up, how I wake them up, because these are people that know nothing about nothing. So I got to dive into some of the lower vibrational stuff, unfortunately, to wake them people up. And then hopefully we get them to the next phase where they can step into their power. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that community is coming out. We're going to be talking about that next week a little bit. We're really working on that to, give people, like, if people don't want to be part of the patriot thing, I believe spiritual patriots are going to change this world like never seen before. Because you got to be a warrior too. You got to be a warrior. You got to be a patriot. You got to be, definitely spirituality connection comes first and foremost. But you've got to also be someone that can help make the change and help, focus on the solutions, right? Don't get involved in the battle. Focus on the solutions, and we'll move this thing in the right direction. But it's going to be an interesting years ahead here. It's going to be really, really an interesting ride. If people think the last 5 years was wild, because I know you just posted about 5 years from the uh, 2020 event. That's all I'll say since we're on on
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes,
the
sir.
2020 event. Bottom line is that you think this has been a ride since then? Oh my gosh, this will look like nothing compared when you get to 2030.
Oh, I know. Yeah, Ray, what Kurzweil said with their whole transhumanist agenda, immortality technology. Yeah, that's where we're headed. But yeah, Pops, I just thank you for coming on today. I always love doing these shows with you. I have a lot of fun.
Doing some-
And I think today was a really good show. It was full of a lot of good information. We had a lot of people in here the whole time. So, to all of our audience out there, we thank you guys. Make sure you smash that like button. Please share the video. And even if you don't share all of our theories, that's okay. It's all right to listen to other people's theories. And our only job is to provoke thought. As long as we did that today, we did our job. And with that being said, that's the end of the show today. So I love you, Pops, and I'll
Love you
see you
too,
next
son.
week, brother.
Love you, brothers and sisters. Take care. Have a wonderful day.
You guys have a great day, and we're out of here.
Yo, we living in a sim, reality's a game. NPCs around us, they all look the same. Soulless entities controlled by AI. Quantum computer running life, asking why. Are you just a player, controlled by machine? Or a first player character, living the dream? Tap into the code, break free from the lies. Decode your Gematria, see through their disguise. In the simulation, what's your role, what's your fate? Are you real or controlled, can you navigate? Elites use Gematria, secrets in the code. Find out your archetype, let the truth unfold. Super quantum computer, pulling all the strings. NPCs moving like puppets on a swing. The Matrix got nothing on the life we lead. Green letters falling is the truth we need. Are you just a player, controlled by machine? Or a first player character, living the dream? Tap into the code, break free from the lies. Decode your Gematria, see through their disguise. In the simulation, what's your role, what's your fate?